most skilled person on the planet with that important field or subject, and you are the most knowledgeable person that knows every little thing about that thing or that field too. If you have all that, but you're lacking in professionalism, you're not respecting your colleagues or the place you're in, people will not want to work with you. So professionalism is very key. A professional person or individual will be a punctual individual, a person who is conscious about the body language he used and how he behaves, and who is productive in his work, and who really cares about what he does, and again starts with the goal, with the end in mind. So whatever he does, basically, well, how do you know that it's productive? Think about it this way: you will know that it's productive if it's moving towards the goal, towards the destination that you're aiming to, basically.
So the last leg of Brad's story is that he is a senior now and he is applying for jobs. One of those job applicants needs a letter of recommendation. So Brad goes back to a professor he's had a couple times over his college career. The professor can write a glowing recommendation for Brad because Brad showed professionalism every single time he had that professor for whatever class. And he did this way through coming to his office hours, showing good work ethic by putting the work forward in the class, showing his work and coming with questions already prepared for his office hours. Anytime he had to email the professor, maybe change an assignment, needed an extension, had a question, he couldn't come to his office hours, anything like that. He was always professional in addressing the professor and being sensitive to the professor's time. Not, emailing him 2 hours before the assignment's due and being like, I need some help with this. So doing things like that and always keeping in mind, Brad got a glowing recommendation from his professor through everything he showed through his professionalism to his work ethic. And that just goes to show you that this competency kind of seems maybe a little obvious, that always you need to have good work ethic and professionalism, but that doesn't start when you graduate and you get a job or you get an internship or a co-op. It starts when you're talking to professors, or if you're involved in a program such as career ambassadors or a campus ambassador. Professionalism can happen anywhere. In fact, I had an experience that today in my job. I met someone through my boss just randomly who knew the internship I was applying for, and I made that connection right there. Even though it was super casual and unexpected, I need to be professional so that when I do meet those people through my boss or any situation, I'm ready for it. So professionalism and work ethic happens throughout your college career, and you never know when someone's going to take notice and reward you for that, such as Brad getting a glowing recommendation from his professor. So just keep that in mind as you're working through college. Oh wait, sorry. I forgot to skip slides. All
right. So now we're wrapping up Brad's college life, at least. So he ended up getting the job he really wanted with Bank of America. He was able to network throughout the way, all the way to getting this fantastic job. He was able to build upon these competencies for each step of the way. He moved out to California with a wife and had like 10 kids over here, making everything he wants and dreamed of. And he did all this through staying focused, 4 years through college, and he was able to succeed at that. So before we wrap everything up, we want to talk about some of our own personal stories as well. So I'm a sophomore, like I mentioned beforehand. In some ways, I've demonstrated some of these competencies is through clubs that I've done. I've been part of Camp Kesem, which is a club working with child with cancer and stuff like that. So I was actually a camp counselor over the summer, where I was able to build on my leadership abilities and communication skills with knowing how to work with other co-counselors, learning how to talk to kids from 6 to 16 years old, as well as being a leader to those kids I was working with as well. I am also a part of a career ambassador, as you can see here, where you have to work on your teamwork abilities. You need to be able to plan presentations and workshops and know how everything works effectively and smoothly.
Awesome. So my story, I'm a senior in industrial engineering, as I just said. Not just in the beginning, as I said in the beginning. And when I started, I still remember my first day in school in fall 2014. So I am someone who really loves to be involved with campus, with student organizations, and all that. And State is a great place, really. We have a lot going on. So many opportunities are there for you. So I learned about an event on campus called Campus Connection that happens every fall, basically. And I very much recommend every one of you to go there if you've never been there. And that event is where all student clubs and organizations, and even the career center, and all basically resources that are available to students, and where students can participate and contribute to, basically come in the same place. It's in Dali here. They occupy 2 doors, if I'm not wrong. And then you can, well, see what's out there, what organizations are there. And I see, well, I'm interested in this and this and this. I got maybe a list of 20 clubs that I am interested in, that I want to join. And I did join, at least the email list, their email list. So I ended up going to some of their meetings. Well, what I liked, I continued with. What I didn't like, I just say, well, that thing is maybe not for me. I'm not as interested or as intrigued by it. So I ended up with, I worked with the student government in the communication departments a bit for maybe a couple of months, and with the engineering council. But then after that, I realized that I want to do something in my major more, so I joined the ISE, the Institute of Industrial Engineers. It's a professional society for my major. They have a chapter here in the state, so I joined that chapter. I'm now working as a conference committee, basically planning to host the regional conference of the chapter of the National Society here at State next spring. And then I learned about the career ambassador program, and I love public speaking, and I wanted to improve my public speaking, even if I think that I am not that bad in public speaking. I still want to work on it, and that's something, by the way, I will tie in when we talk about how much you think you are ready, and versus how much employers think that you are ready. So back to my thing, and then I've been interested in consulting for years now. So in my junior year, I ended up taking a role with Industrial Expansion Solution as a student consultant intern. I enjoyed that role. It helped me immensely getting to my next role, which is with my Deloitte. Deloitte is a consulting company, if you don't know. I worked with them up in DC last summer. I very much enjoyed the experience, and I would love to go back there after I graduate. As I told you, I got a job offer, so that's one thing you can get out of your internships. Job offers, people will know you, people will trust you, you will be something that they will go to. I think about it as, well, they spend so much money on you, why would they go and look for someone else? Unless you really screw up, which I'm sure you will never do. But that's my story.
All right, cool. I'll make mine quick as possible because I don't want us to run out of time. But I'm a mathematics major, and strangely, we're not known for our communication skills. So coming into college, I definitely wanted to show that I had that skill, and I came across career ambassadors because of that, just talking through different people. And through this program, I'm able to put on my resume and, relate stories and interviews back to this program to show my communication skills, something that possibly other math majors won't have on their resume. And that's one way that I kind of stepped up in my career readiness, that I wanted to show that I knew going in here that I wanted to show that above other math majors. And that's just me. All right.
Cool. So now, if I ask you to rate yourself on all the criteria or the career competencies we just talked about, I'm sure that some of you will exceed what employers think. And if we do that exercise, that graph would be very, very, very beneficial, because it will make you realize that students think they are better prepared than actual employers, as you can see, sometimes with a double. And here's the thing, if you think you are career ready, then I believe you are. Confidence is key, right? But that does not mean that you should stop developing yourself and your skills. Continuous developing is key here. And no matter how you think you're great you are, there is still room to improve. And successful people will always look for that room and try to improve it.
That's one thing we definitely want to highlight here, talking about career readiness, is that career ready person is someone who takes education and employment and combines them. but it's also someone who commits to a lifelong learning, like always learning, always wanting to improve, and never, any situation you're put in, whether it's a club, a program, an internship, especially an internship, you can always learn from. And that's kind of what being another competency that's not really listed, but always very important of a career readiness person is someone who's always willing to learn and keep improving those 8 competencies that we mentioned. And these are just kind of a list to give you an idea of what employers want to see on their resumes. There's some that we talked about, such as leadership, communication, whether verbal or written, problem solving, which is huge, especially for STEM majors, or any major. Computer skills and technical skills, I always want to see those are the academic and technical skills Drew mentioned before. And this is just to give you a list of things when you're making your resume, going through a cover letter, getting ready for an interview, of stuff you want to cover. And especially if you excel, and 3 out of 10 of these, you definitely want to harp on those and start thinking about experiences that you learned from college and going around. So definitely keep those in mind. And one thing I also want to emphasize again is that a career-ready person isn't one image. So you don't have to have all 10 of these, and you don't have to have all of the 5 that we said. But you do want to keep thinking about what you specialize in and then what you can improve in. So a career-ready person is always evolving and is never exactly the same from person to person. So being a professional and having good work ethic is something you always want to have that will always look different from career to career. So these competencies, definitely keep them in mind, like I said, but also keep in mind that it will change, and it will change based on who you are and what career you're going into. So knowing your field is also very important to knowing yourself and what you're good in as well. Making those complement each other is always kind of what you want to go for, and that's kind of a very vague general definition of career-ready person. Alrighty.
So before you guys leave today, we actually have a quick survey. It should take about 5 minutes, maybe a little less, honestly, just to answer several questions about how we did as a presenter.